Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know where the hell we are in this new year and how the fuck we got here?
Well, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, and we've kind of been all over the place this last weekend, so we're running late with everything. But as I recall, we ended the last regular session with Isaiah chapter 47.
We sure as fuck did.
And in that one, I think God was really going off about fucking up some Babylon shit and stuff.
He was basically telling Babylon, just because I used you doesn't mean you're awesome. Don't go getting all uppity about yourself.
Right, which we called some bullshit on because, you're the one that, you already knew this. There's no reason to be the way you're being.
Right.
It's kind of an asshole move.
It really is.
Yeah.
You could have just, let it go.
Right? Yeah. But whatever. God.
Babylon's gonna Babylon. What?
Yeah.
Let them Babylon.
Yeah.
But no, you're God, so go ahead, yell at them and
Stuff.
whatever.
Right.
Because you didn't chose them.
Yeah. So that was Isaiah chapter 47.
Yes, it was.
Which means that today we're going to be getting into
Isaiah chapter 48.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so before we jump in, I actually have something I wanted to cover. I should have covered in the intro. But I want to mention this because it's pending and we need to do it soon. But we have a couple of patrons
New patrons
that we need to mention, and we have not done it yet because of all of our hectic schedules and
Holiday.
busyness and holiday. So it is still coming. Bear with us, and we will get those, thank yous out. They will probably be this week at some point. I don't want to 100% promise that, but it is definitely...
we're still behind and trying to catch
Right.
up. But we see you,
But
we thank you, and your name will be mentioned.
It is definitely on our mind. So that being said,
okay,
go ahead and let's go ahead and start with chapter 48.
Here we are in Isaiah chapter 48.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're back to God rebuking. I mean, he's always rebuking. The question is not, is he rebuking?
It's who he's rebuking.
Who is he rebuking? He is rebuking Israel.
Oh.
Go figure.
So we're mad
he's
at
back
Israel
to
again?
hating his people.
Got it.
Okay.
He's not mad at Babylon at the moment, at this particular moment.
Oh, no, he's got room in his heart to be mad at everybody.
Oh, okay.
All the time. God is always angry. He's never not angry.
Right?
Everybody's always a fucking disappointment.
Gotta tiptoe around this motherfucker.
Listen to this! Ye descendants of Jacob, you who are called by the name of Israel, come from the line of Judah.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Yeah, okay.
You listening?
Do you really... I have to just jump in here for a second. So, from the line of Judah, we have forgotten all the other tribes of Israel no longer matter, and apparently it's just the descendants of Judah now?
No, actually I took some notes on this that I was gonna mention later, but I'll go ahead and get into those now if you like, because they are actually kind of pertinent.
Okay, sure.
So, let me
briefly though, we
up.
can do the long version on our Q&A.
No, that's fine. Here is what all that means. So, God identified his people as the house of Jacob, meaning Jacob actually translates to deceiver and cheater.
Oh.
And so he's insulting them.
Really? Jacob is an insult?
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting.
That is interesting, yeah. He also says that they only have the name of Israel and not the character of Israel. And then when he talks about them being from the line of Judah, he's reminding them that their tribal ancestor, Judah, as you mentioned, he was noted in Genesis for his cruelty and immorality.
But how is that any different from God?
Well, this is God's talking to his people, and he's calling them by some of their names, but the way he's doing it is insulting. Like he's basically calling them worms again.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we wouldn't know that had we not, researched a little bit.
Sure.
Because we're like, yeah, sure, these are the descendants of Jacob. What?
Right.
And yeah, they come from the line of Judah.
That's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So, he's saying things that seem on the surface like, yeah, that tracks. Those are correct facts. But it's got an undertone and a mood to it that the unresearched reader would not pick up on.
Right. Got it.
So, but we researched.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
I shared with you
Thanks.
the thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was actually going to bring that up in our recap, but,
And there it is.
You called it out.
I
So
did.
I
did.
I had to bring you my knowledge. Okay, so yeah, he's saying those things, and he's like, you listening? You who take oaths in the name of the Lord and invoke the God of Israel, but not in truth or righteousness. You who call yourselves citizens of the holy city and claim to rely on the God of Israel, the Lord Almighty is his name.
I love how you just...
I'm awesome,
yeah,
fuckers.
Right. Man.
You guys are worms, and I'm a piece of awesomeness to compared...
I swear, I hate to even compare God to this guy, but, like, he sounds a bit like Trump.
He does.
The way he talks about himself and the way he just, like, I don't know, and how everybody else is just trash, and, it's just the whole... The image of God is essentially Trumpish to me.
It is in a very ridiculous but funny because it's true,
right?
Kind of way.
Yeah.
I foretold the former things long ago. My mouth announced them, and I made them known. Then suddenly I acted, and they came to pass. So this is him talking about how he foretold prophecy things that came true.
Right.
For I knew how stubborn you were. Your neck muscles were iron. Your forehead was bronze. It sounds funny. He's basically saying, you couldn't be moved from how stubborn you are.
I got it.
Therefore, I told you these things long ago before they happened. I announced them to you so that you could not say, my images brought them about. My wooden image and golden metal God ordained them. You have heard these things. Look at them all. Will you not admit them? From now on.
They did not. That's not how this happened.
Well, God is claiming it happened according to Isaiah.
Right. Some dude, a human being who wrote this fucking book after the time of Isaiah, in the time of when these things happened.
Is attributing it to Isaiah saying that God foretold these things.
That were actually happening when the guy wrote it.
Yeah.
So this is just complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah. From now on, I will tell you of new things, of hidden things unknown to you. They are created now and not long ago. You have not heard of them before today, so you cannot say, yes, I knew of them. You have neither heard nor understood. From of old, your ears have not been open. Well, I do know how treacherous you are. You were called a rebel from birth.
Okay.
That's I took notes on that too, that I can't wait to our Q&A. I gotta say something.
Yeah.
Rebel from birth is where we get that whole sinner from the womb. Like sinner from day. You are born into sin.
Got it. Right.
Like you got that from Adam. You can't even help it. And then the fact that you sinned through life proves that you were just a born sinner.
Sure.
Okay. So he's like saying, you piece of shits.
I don't like some God that disparages you this much. Why the fuck would you follow him?
Right.
Like why would you think? I don't. It's just crazy.
Well, it would be like if I told my kid, you piece of shit, and then was surprised when my kid was like, don't talk to me like that.
Right.
I would like my mom not to call me a piece of shit, please.
Right. Yeah.
For my own name's sake, I delay my wrath. For the sake of my praise, I hold it back from you so as not to destroy you completely.
Oh, thank you so much for
I'm
not destroying us because you want to be praised.
Yeah, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because my name is awesome and I need to keep my name awesome.
That makes him so wonderful, doesn't it?
You're so magnanimous, you son of a bitch. See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. For my own sake, I do this. How can I let myself be defamed? I will not yield my glory to another.
Wow.
What an arrogant
Jesus
guy.
Christ.
Oh, I hate this guy.
Right?
I feel like this guy is one of my exes.
Man, he's just so full of himself.
Right?
Man.
Like, who the fuck? Who hears this and is like, yeah, amen.
Right? Yeah.
Listen to me, Jacob, Israel, whom I have called. I am he. I am the first and I am the last. My own hand laid the foundations of the earth, and my right hand spread out the heavens. When I summon them, they all stand up together. Well, when I call their name, they come.
Yeah, I guess.
They when I tell them to jump, they ask how high as they're in the air.
But apparently he only does it on a regular schedule that's similar to the earth rotating.
Exactly. Come together, all of you, and listen. Which of the idols has foretold these things? The Lord's chosen ally will carry out his purpose against Babylon. His arm will be against the Babylonians. Even I have spoken. Yes, I have called him. I will bring him, and he will succeed in his mission.
You know what, God? I call bullshit. If you're that powerful, you take on the fucking Babylonians and leave Cyrus the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
I want to see that's you claim all this power and you think you're all this, tough shit here. You take on the Babylonians.
Right.
Fuck Cyrus. Why do you need his help?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is stupid.
Well, and his response would be, I don't need his help. I'm using him. He's my tool because I'm so awesome. I can't solely my own.
But why would you use somebody that's not even a believer in you?
Right.
Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Exactly.
Like, if you this has bothered me all through when he uses these tools. I'm like, what? Why? You don't need to.
Because it's convenient editing.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's that Deus ex machina,
Right.
the hand of God, but literally.
Right.
Yeah. Come near me and listen to this. From the first announcement, I have not spoken in secret. At the time it happens, I am there. And now, okay, I have to say another thing.
Okay.
So at this point, there's some mysterious stranger enters the chat.
Oh.
And there is all kinds of controversy about whom's the fuck.
I see.
Okay. Like, there's all these questions. Who is speaking?
Right.
Like, nobody knows.
Yeah.
And then some people are like, obviously it's Jesus. And then other people are like, is it the suffering servant? And then other people are like, it's just a mystery.
Oh my God.
Right. And now the sovereign Lord has sent me, whomever I am, endowed with his spirit. This is what the Lord says, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. So now some guy. Yeah. Not Isaiah ? Like, well,
right.
And the reason that it can't be Isaiah is because he says, from the first announcement, I was there.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Okay. And that's why a lot of people say it's Jesus, because Jesus is God, right? Whatever. Sure. But anyway, that's from a Christian perspective.
Right.
But the fact that somebody was there at the beginning with God.
You could even take this as God's talking to his goddamn self.
Right?
He's so full of himself. I mean, like, he's just so full of himself. He could be talking to himself.
Yeah. And
like, he has to refer to himself like 3 times in the same fucking sentence. Yeah. I am he who is he and I am thou, and what?
Like, he talks.
Fuck, who cares, man?
He talks in third person and refers to himself in third person. So, to me, it's obvious that this is either like a mistranslation, or somebody wrote it down wrong the first time, or you know what I mean?
Something screwy.
Yeah. I think it's an issue with the text, not with who entered the chat.
We could even chalk this up to possibly they weren't the greatest writers that wrote this, I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a writing problem. I think it's a problem with the text. I don't think that there's a mysterious stranger entered the chat. Right. Okay?
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Really weird.
Right. If only you had paid attention to my commands. This mysterious speaker is speaking for God.
Okay.
Your peace would have been like a river. Your well-being like the waves of the sea. Your descendants would have been like the sand. Your children like its numberless grains. Their name would never be blotted out nor destroyed from before me. Leave Babylon. Flee from the Babylonians. Announce this with shouts of joy and proclaim it. Send it out to the ends of the earth. Say, the Lord has redeemed his servant Jacob. They did not thirst when he led them through the deserts. He made water flow for them from the rock. He split the rock and water gushed out. There is no peace, says the Lord, for the wicked.
Yeah, that rock got Moses
into the wicked.
That rock got Moses into some trouble, though.
Yeah, I find it interesting that he doesn't say Moses' name in this.
Right? Yeah.
Like, why ain't you talking about Moses?
Right. Yeah.
Why are you saying the servant Jacob? And why are you what?
I don't know. I mean, I think I honestly think that there was a lot of I don't think there was a lot of
cohesion.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the biblical text back then,
right.
There was stories, but I don't think everybody had the same stories.
Yeah, they all had different pieces, and some of the pieces overlapped.
Right.
But not necessarily went together.
Right. Yeah.
And they clearly were not seamless.
No, not at all.
No. So that is the end of chapter 48.
Oh, okay. All right. So God's an asshole.
Yeah. God's a dick.
He's a dick.
Yeah.
Okay. It's such a constant theme.
It really is.
We should have just called. I didn't know it at the time, but we should have just called our podcast "God's a Dick."
God is a dick.
It would totally be more appropriate
if we ever rebrand.
Right?
We'll
yeah, God's a dick.
God's a
totally.
Dick. Would you put the apostrophe S? Would you say God's a dick or God is a dick?
I'd probably put an apostrophe.
Really? Because I would do it without the apostrophe, just because you couldn't hashtag it as well, and because sometimes when you're writing things on weird website problem comments and stuff, symbols get changed into other symbols.
True. Right. Yeah.
So I would totally just leave it. God is a dick.
I just feel like on stuff that we would make, it would be easier to do. God's a dick. Yeah. I don't know.
I'd have to think
there's
about
wins
that.
both ways, but who cares?
Right.
We're Sacrilegious Discourse.
We are.
That's what it is.
I was just thinking about it because you were saying God's and I was saying God is. And so I just had to question, how would we do that on our t-shirts?
Yeah. All right. I don't know.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Sorry.
That was Isaiah chapter 48.
It sure as fuck was.
And we will be back actually later today with
Isaiah chapter 49.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember where the hell we are and how we got here?
Well, we just finished Isaiah chapter 48.
We did.
And in that chapter, I think that God sort of kind of liked but hated Israel / Jacob / worms.
Yes.
Is that basically the gist of it?
That's the gist of it. Yeah. He was like, I am so fucking awesome. I'm going to save you for that sake.
Right.
So that everybody knows how awesome I am. Not because you're special. You aren't. You suck.
Right. Yeah. So that was, basically that's been it for a few chapters now.
Yeah.
But that was Isaiah chapter 48.
Sure as fuck was.
And today we're getting into
Isaiah chapter 49.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, so we are hopping into Isaiah chapter 49. And before we do, I need to tell you a few notes.
Okay. Yeah.
This chapter includes the second of the songs of the suffering servant.
Oh, we got another song?
Yeah. Remember, I clarified in one of our extra episodes, like our Q&A or something like that, but I never went back and clarified in our regular episodes. When we did the first song, I erroneously stated that it was 4 consecutive chapters contained the songs.
Right.
And that was false.
Not true. Right.
It was not true. Yeah. They are spread out. So this is the second one. Now, the third one will be the next chapter.
Okay.
And then the fourth one won't be the one after that, but it will be the one after that.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, just as a reminder, the servant songs are 4 poems within the book of Isaiah, written about a certain quote, servant of Yahweh.
Okay.
And God calls the servant to lead the nation, but the servant is horribly repressed, and in the end, finally, he's rewarded.
Got it.
And we don't know who this servant is. Christians claim that it's Jesus, and other people are like, no, it's Cyrus, and then others are like, no, it's
Israel.
God himself, and other people are like, it's Israel, and other people are like, it's just bad writing.
Sure.
Just stop trying so hard.
Yeah.
But they fall in chapters 42, 49, 50, and 52.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to clarify that before we start.
Got it.
Listen to me, ya islands.
Ya islands.
Don't you like that?
Yeah, it's like they've used this multiple times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's funny.
It's just to repeat what we said the last time
right.
islands came up. It's
those
could be
people
coastlands, whatever.
Right.
It's the people
further away.
Yeah.
Right.
That they still fall under God's rule or whatever.
Something like that.
Because he said so.
Right.
So listen to me, ya islands. Hear this, ya distant nations.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was born, the Lord called me. This is the servant speaking.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Before I was born, the Lord called me. From my mother's womb, he has spoken my name. He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand, he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver. He said to me, you are my servant, Israel, in whom I will display my splendor.
Wait, you are my servant, Israel?
You are my servant, to whom I am speaking, Israel.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it could be, you are my servant, Israel.
Right. No, that's why I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like he's talking to, like, because Cyrus has come up specifically before, but here he's not saying specifically Cyrus, it's Israel. Yeah. So it gets a little muddled.
And this is, before it would have been like, oh, it's probably Cyrus. Now it's like, oh, it's probably Jesus, actually.
Or Israel. That's what. That's
Israel,
how the Jewish people see it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I could see why Christians are like, no, it's totally Jesus. Because they're saying that he was there from the beginning, and yet at the same time that he was called from his mother's womb, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just trying to.
But there's also, you could also say, so I mean, there's been a lot of talk in the Old Testament about how how God forms human beings in the womb. Like he's got a part in forming you in the womb.
Yeah.
All it's saying is that he formed this person, whoever it is, in the womb, just like everybody else, but made them a weapon for him.
Which Jesus was supposed to be.
Right. But that doesn't make this person specifically not knowing who it is they're talking about any more specifically special than anybody else that's born.
Look, I'm not saying that this is Jesus. I'm not.
I understand.
I don't know who the fuck it is. And right now it looks like it's Israel. Although last time the servant came up, it seemed like it was Cyrus.
I take offense when we say Jesus because I don't want to give this book any credit that it's not due.
Well, and I'm coming from a similar but contradictory place because I will only give what's due because it's so fucking ridiculous that I could criticize it on many, many levels.
So this same book, though, claimed that it knew that Cyrus was going to do these things to Babylon, right? And save and free the Israelites and all that, right? They knew his name.
Yeah.
Hypothetically in the canon of the Bible.
200 years before Cyrus.
And many Christians believe that that's the case as well. So if we're taking it from that standpoint, where they knew that this person was going to be that specific person, right? Why can't we name fucking Jesus?
Right.
Why can't we can name Cyrus, but we can't name Jesus? I call bullshit.
Right, that's true.
So it doesn't, I understand that Christians want to see it this way, but that is not how I see it at all. Like, I don't think that is anything, I don't, that is a large leap to make, given the context that we're in. And I know we're reading it with the knowledge that we're going to be going into the New Testament, and Christians do see it this way. But if I'm looking at it from the perspective of a Jewish person or Judaism, I don't see it at all.
Okay.
It's just the same blather that we've heard
on
and on.
Let me say, if I was walking into this as I am, not aware, then I would have no inkling
right.
or whatever. But if I have been told that this is Jesus, and then I come and I read this book, I would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This sounds like Jesus.
Sure, but also keep in mind that the New Testament was also written after the fact, after this book was written.
Sure.
And they were very easily able to make it fit
the
narrative.
Of course, retrofit.
They're like, hey, we need to make this work and this work and this work, so
absolutely.
let's make that happen.
I mean, that's what that, conference at Nicaea or whatever the fuck.
Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, that thing.
Right.
Where those dudes sat around and plucked papers and stapled them together and said, and this is the Bible now.
Yeah, and if you think that they didn't make it work, then that's just silly.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
This was written by men. It was written by men, and that's it.
Yeah. Period.
Right.
Yep. But, continued the servant, I said, I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for nothing at all. Yet what is due me is in the Lord's hand, and my reward is with my God. And now the Lord says, he who formed me in the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob back to him and gather Israel to himself, for I am honored in the eyes of the Lord, and my God has been my strength. He says, it is too small a thing for you to be my servant, to restore the tribes of Jacob and bring back those of Israel I have kept. I will also make you a light for the Gentiles, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth.
Mm.
The ends of the earth.
And I see what you're saying and how this fits narratives that are on later. But again, if you take it in context as to where we are, it just sounds like the same blather.
No,
the same,
totally agree.
Same nonsense.
Totally agree with you. I'm not saying that this sounds like it is Christ.
No, I got you.
I am saying that I can understand how a Christian being told this is Christ would believe that.
Right. And moreover, many of these things that they're talking about were previously attributed directly to Cyrus as the one that was doing it.
Yeah.
And this person that they're talking about is somebody completely different because he believes in God. He's all about God and, this is, and Cyrus didn't believe in God at all. So
I don't see why it can't be Isaiah.
Well, Isaiah is just a prophet relaying a message, though.
But I don't see why they get really, really confused with who's speaking where, and they don't differentiate. And sometimes he's like, "I'm speaking for God," and sometimes he's like,
"That's true,"
speaking for himself. I don't see why it can't be.
It definitely probably
Isaiah any more than Israel.
I mean, Isaiah is definitely spreading the message to make these things happen. So, according to the Bible,
or maybe I should step back a pace and say, whoever was writing in Isaiah's name at this point of the book of Isaiah.
Yeah.
This is what the Lord says, the Redeemer and Holy One of Israel. To him who was despised and abhorred by the nation, to the servant of rulers. Kings will see you and stand up. Princes will see and bow down, because of the Lord who is faithful, the Holy One of Israel, who has chosen you. This is what the Lord says. In the time of my favor, I will answer you, and in the day of salvation, I will help you. I will keep you and will make you to be a covenant for the people, to restore the land, and to reassign its desolate inheritances, to say to the captives, because they're in Babylonian captivity at the moment, to say to the captives, come out, and to those in darkness, be free. They will feed besides the roads and find pasture on every barren hill.
I think I got to step in here for just a second. And it just occurred to me as we were talking about this, that I think that everybody that reads the Bible has Christians specifically, they have an agenda, right? They're trying to see Christ in it.
That they accuse you of having.
Sure. But they have an agenda, and so when they read something, they aren't reading what I'm hearing is this is the them being freed or soon to be freed from Babylon.
Yeah.
Babylonia.
Yeah.
Babylon. Sorry.
Yeah.
But what they're hearing is general suffering and people not worshiping God, and they're hearing it differently.
Sure.
And I can see how that could be taken that way, But so far in the Bible, everything has been written very specifically to the plights that they've been going through at that given time.
Right.
And so I don't see why this would be any different.
I don't either. So
that's, again, just I know I'm kind of going on about stuff here, but like it's really bothering me how this is supposed to relate to Jesus. And I don't want to relate it to Jesus. And I know I keep saying that, but there's other ways to hear this, you know? So.
Right. And when I do bring it up, I only bring it up as I am being a deliverer of information.
Sure.
Not a prophet. Just somebody who has read that, oh, hey, there's some people over there who are saying that it might be this, or it might be that, or it might be that.
Right.
And I see what they're saying, or this one sounds ludicrous, you know?
Yeah. Oh, man. Ludicrous just popped up. No, sorry. That's a reference to a commercial.
An American commercial. Yes. Sorry.
It was just funny. To me.
It was funny.
Yeah.
You had to be there.
Right.
They will neither hunger nor thirst, nor will the desert heat or the sun beat down on them. He who has compassion on them will guide them and lead them beside springs of water. I will turn all my mountains into roads, and my highways will be raised up. Remember, we've talked about that before, his high roads.
Right.
And how there's like lions that won't eat them or some shit like that.
Well, and there was the fire that won't burn them, and the water that won't get them wet. And, you know, all that
kinds
shit.
of magical rainbow road.
Yeah.
I will turn all my mountains into roads, and my highways will be raised up. See, they will come from afar. Some from the north, some from the west, some from the region of Aswan.
But none from the south, apparently.
No.
Unless Aswan is in the south.
That's what Aswan is.
Well, what about the east, though?
Well, okay, let me go back, because I have some notes about this, if you would shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
North, west, and Aswan. You're right.
Aswan.
Yeah. Okay, so I have some notes about Aswan that it could be a swan.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's got to be Aswan now.
It is Aswan in my mind.
Exactly.
So okay, Aswan here is based on the Dead Sea Scrolls, but other interpretations refer to it as Sinim.
Okay.
Sinim.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like those only vaguely sound similar, right? Like
Aswan and Sinim?
Sinim, yeah.
They don't sound at all like to me.
Well, I mean, they both have an S and an N.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm stretching there.
All right.
But anyway, a word that can be found, this is a word that can only be found here in the Bible. It's never mentioned again.
Okay.
And it could be interpreted as Persia because of some similar word used in the Septuagint, the Greek version.
Okay.
It could just basically mean the South based on a similar word in Vulgate Latin.
Okay.
Or it could be China because the English term sinologist comes from the Greek word for Chinese.
Okay.
Some others even identify Sinim with some place in Egypt.
Got it.
So once again,
it could be any number of things.
Once again, it's here's a place that we don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
Which they could have left it there, but didn't.
Right.
The most that can be safely said is that verse 12, which is what that was, foresees, quote unquote, many converts coming from far distant places, of which Sinim was a notable example.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's my note about that.
Sure.
Aswan. Okay. Some from the region of Aswan. Shout for joy, you heavens! Rejoice, you earth! Burst into song, you mountains! I'm gonna tell you that.
He just took all the mountains and made them roads, though.
Well, now they're
back again.
Now they're singing.
Okay.
When I wake you up in the morning, I'm gonna say, "Burst into song, you mountain!"
And I'm gonna be like,
yeah,
no,
that's what I'm gonna do. Because that's just funny.
Mm-hmm.
For the Lord comforts his people and will have compassion on his afflicted ones. But Zion, and here they're speaking of a specific mountain.
Okay.
The Mount Zion.
Okay.
But Zion said, the Lord has forsaken me. The Lord has forgotten me. So the people over there are like, oh no, God doesn't have anything to do with us anymore. This is bullshit. He divorced us is the term that's used in other translations.
Got it. Okay.
And so this person is saying, for God, Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. Which, that sounds weird, but what he's saying is, you know how mom with a newborn will never forget to feed her child?
Right.
I'm even more than
Got
that.
it.
Not going to forget you.
Okay.
I'm the awesomest at remembering.
Okay.
Because I'm God.
Right.
You know?
Right.
See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me.
That's back to that. There were specific groups that were doing that to show their... Yes. Wait. So this isn't God talking then, right? Or is it God?
This is still the servant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yes and no. And this is where we get into it could be Jesus because one of the examples that was pointed out was when he was crucified. Mm-hmm. The nails went through the palms of his hand. My God. And so we are written on his hands.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, there was some practice common among the Jews at that time of making marks on their hands or arms by punctures on the skin with some sort of sign or representation of the city or temple, for example, Jerusalem, to show their affection and zeal for it.
Got it.
So
okay,
it's a fair point to bring up. I hate it, but there it is.
Sure. Again, you can make things fit after the fact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is definitely as valid as a tarot reading.
Right.
You know, that coincides.
Yep.
Okay, so see, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me. Your children hasten back, and those who laid you waste depart from you. Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. As surely as I live, declares the Lord, you will wear them all as ornaments. You will put them on like a bride.
See, now, there was not a good break, and it sounds like the Lord's been talking the whole time because...
It's in quotes, though. So somebody is speaking for the Lord.
All right, that's fair.
And it's Isaiah or somebody writing for Isaiah, as Isaiah, speaking as this servant, whomsoever he may be, for the Lord.
So it's just really bad writing. It's
horrible because we're like so meta here. We're like 4 people deep.
Right.
Of speaking for.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking servants all the way down. I don't even know what to say. Like, what are these people, you know?
Right.
Though you were ruined and made desolate, blah, 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 devoured, you will be far away. The children born during your bereavement will yet say in your hearing, this place is too small for us. Give us more space to live in. Then you will say in your heart, who bore me these? I was bereaved and barren. I was exiled and rejected. Who brought these up? I was left all alone, but these, where'd they come from? This is what the sovereign Lord says. See, I will beckon to the nations. I will lift up my banner to the peoples. They will bring your sons in their arms and carry your daughters on their hips. Kings will be your foster fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers. They will bow down before you with their faces to the ground. They will lick the dust at your feet.
Judaism is franchising. They're bringing this. They're like they want to get that million served on their McDonald's banner.
Yep. Could you imagine licking the dust at your feet?
No.
That's grody. Actually, it reminds me. I recently watched the movie Saltburn, which I have such mixed feelings about, and it was a really, really strange, over-the-top movie that I don't necessarily regret seeing, but I'm not necessarily excited that I saw it either. There was a lot of male nudity in that movie that just, I don't know that it was all necessary.
Right.
There was no female nudity, but anyway, this guy was in love so hard with this other guy, kind of, that he's looking in the bathroom. He sees his guy that he's in love with in the bathtub jerking it. And so then when dude leaves the bathroom, then this main character guy goes in and drinks
Oh
some
my
of
God.
the
No,
bath
you
water.
can't even, don't, that, I'm not sure you can even say that on the fucking...
The bath water.
Jesus
He
Christ.
drank
No,
the
that's
bath
fucking,
water.
stop. That's horrible. The fuck?
Well, that's what when it says they'll lick the dust at your feet,
No,
I'm
that's,
like,
I'll lick dust all day, okay? I'm happy
Yeah.
licking dust. Just shut up.
I don't want to even drink any of
We're
that
done.
stuff.
Moving along.
Would you eat cat food?
I have eaten cat food.
Ew.
I worked at a pet store for a while.
Oh my God.
You get bored, you know?
Oh, canned cat food?
I tried it.
Did you really?
It's not good.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Because, you know, you're there and you're bored and people dare you to do shit. So you do it.
What the fuck? I would never.
I didn't do this, but somebody did eat a fucking pig ear one time. That was
my
gross.
God. What is wrong with you people? Like, they would be like, brack, brack, you're a chicken. And I would be like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Well, no.
What is wrong with you?
It's not even that. We're just bored. We're like, I'll try it. Sure, why not?
No, that is not how my brain works.
No?
Nope. Nope. There are some things that peer pressure will not work on.
I mean, our cat seems to like it, you know?
Well, yeah, but that's because she's a cat and it's made for cats.
Well, I mean, you know, she's a cat. What's so different, you know?
Because if I drop dinner on the floor and she eats it, she barfs it up a few hours later.
Right.
So clearly our stomachs are not the same. She needs food that's made for her.
They're more meat eaters. We're omnivores, so we can eat things that they can't.
Yeah.
But we can also eat the same things they eat.
Oh my God. I can't with you.
I'm just saying.
You are trying to justify trying cat food for no reason other than pure boredom
how can you
and
knock
peer
it
pressure.
until you try it?
I'm not going to.
Although I'm not trying the bathwater, so.
Oh my God. Stop. I was trying really hard to change the subject into a different, like we were arguing and your brain was off of it.
Right.
And then you just brought it right back around.
I did.
You know what? Our kid and actually my ex-mother-in-law, they both ate dog biscuits.
I have done that, definitely.
Oh my God.
Our son used to eat dog biscuits when, like, I think he had some for when he was wrestling or something, or at least one of his friends did something like that.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you people? Like, what is it that says I'm gonna try this? It wouldn't even occur to me.
I mean,
just no.
I mean, why not? You know?
No.
I'm just saying.
It's
it is what it is. Yeah.
No, thank you. Then you will know that I am the Lord. Those who hope in me will not be disappointed. I'm disappointed, but
we don't hope in him either.
I don't hope in him.
Yeah.
So, whatevs. Can plunder be taken from warriors or captives be rescued from the fierce?
That can happen.
But this is what the Lord says.
Okay.
Yes, captives will be taken from warriors and plunder received from the fierce.
Okay.
I will contend with those who contend with you, and your children I will save. I will make your oppressors eat their own flesh.
Jesus.
No wonder they say atheists eat babies. Ugh.
I don't. Okay.
Ah.
I don't. Whatever.
Yeah, this is stupid.
Yeah.
They will be drunk on their own blood as with wine. Now we're vampires too?
Self-vampires.
Cool.
You're going to eat yourself.
No, I ain't. No, I ain't. Then all mankind will know that I, the Lord, am your Savior, your Redeemer, the Mighty One of Jacob. The end.
And you're worried about zombies, but what about this self-zombieing?
This is nasty.
You know, like self-vampirism.
Nope.
You gotta worry now. You got something else new to worry about.
Nope. I'm reading a book right now by Jonathan Mayberry that has zombies in it.
You got to meet Jonathan Mayberry, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
He is so fucking awesome.
Right? Yeah.
He is a really cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite book by him is the first in his series, Rotten Ruin.
I have listened to that book and I liked it a lot.
It's really good. If you like zombies, that's a good zombie read.
It really is. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, then he's got another series that's related to it that happens before the zombie apocalypse, and that's the series I'm reading right now.
Gotcha.
And the main character of that is Joe Ledger. I don't enjoy it as much because I don't like that character. I feel like he's too army macho.
Right.
But I enjoy being in that world enough that I put up with his nonsense.
Sure.
But anyway, so
God's a dick.
God's a dick and zombies are scary, and I am not one.
Oh,
and I'm not eating people.
And if you missed our Patreon episode, which we did the other day, we talked about, possibly we're not going to, but we talked about how fun it would be to name our podcast "God is a Dick."
Oh yeah.
So
I forgot about that. We did talk about that
because we say it enough, and it's true enough that it could be very relevant.
And then we argued over whether we would use the contraction gods or God is.
And the only feedback we got was that God is a dick would let us emphasize is a dick. God is a dick. So it gives us some play with different marketing and different things like that. So it could work out better like that.
Yeah. Oh, I told you, I think that using the apostrophe is a symbol, and they always fuck up the symbols.
Sure.
No symbols allowed.
No symbols.
Yep.
All right. Well, that being said, that was Isaiah chapter 49.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that we'll be back tomorrow with
Isaiah chapter 50. And if you would like to join us, oh no, it'll be too late by the time you hear this.
Yeah,
never mind.
Unless you catch it in the next few minutes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So next week on Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, we do live discords, and they're a fuck ton of fun.
Yeah.
And you should be there with us.
And the links on our newer episodes for the Discord channel are always down in the show notes. So just head down there, click on the link, join us. I don't give a fuck if you don't know how to do Discord. Just log on. None of us knew how to do Discord before we logged on there.
I still don't know how to do Discord. Every single time I have to be like, how do I get into this chat thing?
We'll only laugh at you minimally.
I won't laugh at all.
Somebody might, though.
Somebody might.
But it'll be very minimal.
Somebody might, but it'll be minimal, and it'll be affectionate, and it won't be me because I'm right there with you.
Right. No, well, it's like a good humored laugh is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It won't be like a menacing laugh.
No, not at all. Very affectionate.
We're laughing together.
And then also the people in the group will collectively try to help you figure out what your problem is.
Right.
Not that you have a problem. They'll try to walk you through.
But they'll solve it.
Yes. And check out my hook. Okay, so on that note.
Bye.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know where the hell we are and how the hell we got here?
Well, we just did our other episode today, so I better remember where we were.
It was like 2 hours ago.
It was. So we just got done reading Isaiah chapter 49.
Correct.
And in that chapter, God was talking about his chosen whatever the fuck it was.
Neo.
That's either Jesus
the chosen one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Neo. I think that's a lot more fun. But it was very muddled. It was very confusing. It was very not clear as to who this person is.
It was one of the suffering servant songs.
Right. And I know that Christianity is going to say that's Jesus.
Right.
But I took some serious issue with that because
you took umbrage to it for sure.
Yeah, it's just not clear. And if you read it from a Jewish perspective, it's just you can read it in much the same way you've read previous chapters where they were talking about Cyrus or whoever else.
Right.
Like it just didn't mention Cyrus and it didn't mention certain things. But
I feel like it was very much bad writing because we've complained all the way through that you can't really tell who's talking because they didn't notate it correctly.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they expected that a bunch of lay folks would be
hardly anybody could read back when they wrote this.
Yeah. So I mean, to be fair, it's not all their fault that they wrote shitty, but be that as it may, they wrote shitty.
Well, I mean, technically, it is their fault that they wrote shitty because they did it.
Well, they didn't know any better, so it's not their fault.
All right.
They didn't know. There weren't literary criticism experts back then. Not that I'm a literary criticism expert by any stretch of the imagination.
But if this was helped out by God, you would think that he would be able to write divinely.
Well, he would be able to, but he didn't choose to.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, that was Isaiah chapter 49.
Sure as fuck was. Which
means that today we're getting into
Isaiah chapter 50.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, so we are hopping into Isaiah chapter 50, and this is another one of those servant song things.
Sure.
And the episode that we just released prior to this
was also one.
Right. And so this is the third, and then the fourth will not be the next chapter. It'll be chapter 52.
Got it.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. So there's a little heads up for you.
Sure.
And we don't know who the servant is, but he's suffering, and he's speaking for God sometimes, I guess. And this is all according to Isaiah, but not really, because it's all according to some guy who's writing 200 years after Isaiah, attributing it to Isaiah.
So maybe Isaiah's talking, maybe the servant's talking, maybe God's talking. We don't know.
Maybe Cyrus is talking. Who fucking knows?
Right.
I don't know.
Somebody's talking.
Somebody's writing.
Somebody's writing.
And they wrote too much. And it's so meta. Because it's like quotes within quotes within quotes. And it's like, I forgot who's talking here.
Right.
All right. So here we go. This is what the Lord says. Where is your mother's certificate of divorce with which I sent her away? Oh, okay. That sounds confusing.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So I'm really glad that I
you covered something like about that in the last chapter, but I don't recall exactly.
So, okay, so in the last chapter, the people of Mount Zion were like, God has left us. He's forgotten us. He divorced us.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And God was like telling them, like, no, dudes, I'm married to you. You're stupid.
Okay.
Stop being mad. I didn't forget you. Whatever. Prove it.
Sure.
So this is his way of continuing that conversation and saying, I divorced you. Prove it.
Got it.
Okay. So that's what
I
this
can't
is.
even prove he exists, let alone that he's divorced, that we've divorced him.
Right.
You know, like,
right.
So that's a problem.
Yeah. It's a really dumb response.
Yeah,
I
no,
think.
especially for something that no one else knows exists except for Isaiah.
Right.
So
God is saying, where's the divorce with which the papers with which I sent her away? Or to which of my creditors did I sell you? Because of your
God
sin.
has creditors? Or is it the
No,
servant?
He's being sarcastic.
No, I know.
He doesn't have
But
creditors.
it's just funny to think of God having creditors.
It is, actually. Does he have student loans?
Like, wisdom's like, dude, you got to pay me back, man.
Yeah.
I gave you all that knowledge, and you still have not repaid me.
Those are student loans for sure. Because of your sins you were sold. Because of your transgressions your mother was sent away. So he's saying if we're divorced, we're not, but if we were, it's your own fault.
Right, but the way he phrased that in the way that, like, you know how they punish people for multiple generations of sin?
Yeah.
That he said it in such a way that it's because of those people previously that you all I sent you away.
Sorry.
And
you shouldn't have been born to that person.
Right? Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
When I came, why was there no one? When I called, why was there no one to answer?
'Cause you're a dick.
Was my arm too short to deliver you? Do I lack the strength to rescue you? By a mere rebuke, I dry up the sea. I turn rivers into a desert. Their fish rot for lack of water and die of thirst. I clothe the heavens with darkness and make sackcloth its covering. Boom.
Okay.
This is him being all, see, I'm so great. Remember?
Yeah, I make it dry and I make it rain.
Make it rain. That's right, he do. And he's just reminding them, like, yep, I'm still a dick, and if y'all are mad at me, that's on you.
Right,
you know?
Right.
The sovereign Lord has given me, whoever I am,
right,
a well-instructed tongue to know the word that sustains the weary. He wakens me morning by morning, wakens my ear to listen like one being instructed. The sovereign Lord has opened my ears. I have not been rebellious. I have not turned away. I offered my back to those who beat me, my cheeks to those who pulled my beard. I did not hide my face from mocking and spitting. Because the sovereign Lord helps me, I will not be disgraced. Therefore have I set my face like flint, and I know I will not be put to shame. He who vindicates me is near. Who then will bring charges against me? Let us face each other. Who is my accuser? Let him confront me.
So this is literally... So I was still having trouble following who was talking.
Yeah.
But this is the
seems
the
like
servant.
It was the servant, and then it seems like we switched back to God.
Well, no, this feels like the servant, and earlier felt like God to me.
With the who's my accuser, that part sounds like it's God talking to Zion again.
Okay.
But then with the I've set my face like flint, blah, 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 that sounds like the suffering servant.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's very...
It is very confusing.
Hard to follow here.
Yeah, totally. I agree. We'll definitely have to do some follow-up on these chapters, because fuck this servant, man. Anyway, let him confront me. It is the sovereign Lord who helps me. Who will condemn me? They will all wear out like a garment. The moths will eat them up.
They didn't get those mothballs.
You know what? They didn't do steam cleaning back then.
No.
Like, you could just take your shit to a dry cleaner now.
Right.
And they don't have...
We talked about this a while back. Like, I know that they must still exist, but I haven't seen a mothball in ages.
We did like,
and then we had, I think some people chimed in that they, I don't remember, but
we did like a Q&A thing on it.
Yeah, that's right. We did a whole Q&A on it.
Because we were like, what the fuck? Where did all the mothballs go?
Right, yeah.
And they're in your grandmother's cedar box. It turns out that was the answer to that question.
Yeah, right.
Who among you fears the Lord and obeys the word of his servant?
Not me.
Not me either. Let the one who walks in the dark, who has no light, trust in the name of the Lord and rely on their God. But now, all you who light fires and provide yourselves with flaming torches, go. Walk in the light of your fires and of the torches you have set ablaze. This is what you shall receive from my hand. You'll lie down in torment. The end.
Oh.
Jesus. That came out of nowhere. Like, that was like...
If you think you can find your own way, I'll torture you.
Yep.
So, fuck off and die.
No high road for you.
Yeah.
Lions.
My God.
He's so like bitchy.
It's just so, yeah. No, totally.
I've used the word petulant so many times.
Right, and that's, I feel like I almost run out of the words to say, because I feel like when I say them, I'm like, I've said this before like a million times.
Right.
And I don't want to say it again. But he's just
blustery.
Yeah. He's a complete asshole.
He's got his arms crossed, and he's got his lower lip out, and he's like, his cheeks are flushed, and he looks like Mike Ditka.
Is that Mike Ditka is God?
No, Mike Ditka is the caricature of God. Like, that dude just always looked blustery.
I don't think anybody younger is going to know who Mike Ditka is.
I barely know who he is, but I remember his face, and I remember always thinking that he was just blustery looking.
Right.
He was some coach of some football team.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah.
The Bears.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's not that important.
I think it's impressive that I fucking knew his name. I know what he looks like, and I could describe him.
Right. So I remember it was the first Super Bowl I remember watching was I think it was 84 Bears that they won the Super Bowl, and then the team that year created a song called the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I loved that song. I was pretty young, but man, the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Everybody loved that song.
That was a great thing. It was a great thing that happened.
Everybody loved it.
It's terrible, but it was great.
No, everybody loved it.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the worst things are also the greatest things.
They are.
Like Ice Ice Baby. Come on.
Super Bowl Shuffle totally tops Ice Ice Baby.
Oh, totally. But I'm just saying, like, some of the worst things are also the greatest.
Sure.
Like Ice Ice Baby.
Right.
One of the worst things.
Yeah.
Yet it comes on and we all sing it.
It's true.
And we all, like, look at each other and we wave back and forth like, oh, yeah, I know the words.
But then the question becomes, how many of the words do you actually know?
Exactly. Like, most of us can get through the first chorus.
Right.
And then some of us can get, like, the first couple lines after the first chorus.
Right.
But there's only a very special few who do the whole fucking song.
Right.
And I look at them and I'm like, you really know that whole goddamn song. Like, why? And you know why it is? It's the same reason why I remember stupid bullshit from earlier in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the computer wore tennis shoes.
Right.
You know? Like,
yeah.
Why would I know that stupid? The Gnome Mobile.
Right.
Why do I know that shit?
I don't know.
pointless.
It is.
That's why people know all the lyrics to Ice Ice Baby.
Got it.
Same thing.
Totally makes sense.
Do you know all the words?
No, I don't think so.
You know most of them, though.
I know a lot of them.
You know into the second verse.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd have to.
You know further than me.
Right.
Yeah. I always wanted to know what it meant to wax a chump like a candle.
Right, yeah. Didn't we look that up one time
we
too?
We did, because you were like, I can't describe it. And I was like, because you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't remember what we came up with either, so.
Basically,
that's a lackluster ending.
I thought it was like beat 'em up or something.
That's probably, like that sounds about right.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So that was chapter 50 of Isaiah.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means, let's see, what is today? Okay,
Tuesday.
Yeah. So we will be back tomorrow with
Isaiah chapter 51.
And we're finally back on track after
are.
Doing some catch-ups. So we will see you guys on our...
Where we're going right now, though, just to let you know, is into our Discord live to continue this conversation with people who like to hang out with us.
And you should like to hang out with us too, because we're awesome and
we're
you're awesome, and we need you there.
Right.
See, we need all of the awesome people together in one place.
One little place. Yeah. So Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, come hang out with us in Discord and listen to us be really dumb.
And don't worry if you don't know how to do Discord. Most of us didn't know how to do Discord when we hopped in here.
And I still don't, because every single time I'm like, how the fuck do I get in there?
Right.
So, whatever.
So just show up.
Be done with me.
It's fine. The link's in the show notes.
Yeah.
So, you know, go do that.
Totally.
All right. So we'll be back tomorrow with chapter 51.
Correct. Bye.
Bye.
Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what the hell we did yesterday and how we got here and what happened?
Well, yesterday we read Isaiah chapter 50.
We did.
And in that chapter, God or somebody divorced God, or God divorced somebody, or there was a divorce certificate or something.
No.
Like they had the whole thing, right?
No. The people of Zion were upset because they felt that God forgot them and that he divorced himself from them. And so God was like, no, prove it.
Right.
That's what happened.
But he was asking for the certificate of divorce. Yeah. Right. Okay, that's right. And then we talked about the Redeemer person, the Savior person, the servant person, whatever the fuck he is.
Yeah.
They are who they are. I still don't know.
Right.
I still have no idea, and it was very unclear.
Right.
And sometimes Israel's good, and sometimes Israel's bad.
But he's always a worm.
And so that pretty much sums up a lot of Isaiah.
Wake up, you mountain.
So that was Isaiah chapter 50.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that today we're getting into
Isaiah chapter 51.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, so here we are hopping into Isaiah chapter 51.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Oh, shit.
You who pursue righteousness and who seek the Lord.
So I don't have to listen.
Nope. Me neither. Look to the rock from which you were cut, and to the quarry from which you were hewn.
That's so. It's not dirt now. It's rock and quarry.
Do you even hewn? Look to Abraham, your father, and to Sarah, who gave you birth.
Wow, that's a deep cut,
right?
I haven't heard them.
B-side,
right? I haven't heard them bring them up in a while,
right? When I called him, he was only one man.
He was not 2 or 20.
What he's saying is, I had called him before he was even married,
right?
To Sarah.
Okay,
he didn't have a family. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have 100 kids.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. When I called him, he was only one man, and I blessed him and made him many.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, by granting him sons and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Lord will surely comfort Zion and will look with compassion on all her ruins. He will make her deserts like Eden.
Ooh.
That's fancy.
Yeah.
Her wastelands like the garden of the Lord.
Huh. You know what, though? I have questions about this because no one that's alive ever, really, except for like 4 people ever in God's history have ever seen Eden.
Right.
So does that really mean anything to anybody?
No.
Because they can't know what that's like.
Right.
They've never been there. They've never seen it.
Like, that'd be cool.
What is that?
What is it? What's it look like? What grows there? I mean, garden. Like, are we talking like a couple trees?
Like, I got flowers? A garden. Like, is it like super garden? What the fuck is it?
Yeah. I
know there's like a flaming cherub at the exit or entrance or something.
Can I chop trees down to build a house?
I don't know.
Like,
not that one. That one you probably don't want to chop that one down.
Well, it said I can't eat from it, but surely I could use the wood. Right?
I would stick. I would stay away from using that one for. Yeah. And I'm just saying, like, probably wouldn't go over.
Do you think there's still snakes there?
If I was a snake, I wouldn't go anywhere near that fucking thing.
Really? Because I was gonna say, now that the people are gone, if I was a snake, that's exactly where I'd live.
Yeah, no people. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Joy and gladness will be found in her. Thanksgiving and the sound of singing.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Okay.
My people.
I thought I didn't have to.
You don't.
Oh, okay.
Hear me, my nation. Yeah, no. Instruction will go out from me. My justice will become a light to the nations. My righteousness draws near speedily.
Okay.
My salvation is on the way.
All right. Speedy delivery.
And my arm will bring justice to the nations. My arm.
Just his arm. Yeah.
The right one. Probably.
Just imagine if he used his foot, too.
Oh, my God. Stop. Do the hokey pokey, God. The islands,
Yeah, those people over there.
The people way far on the edge of the planet.
Those guys.
Will look to me and wait and hope for my arm. Lift up your eyes to the heavens. Look at the earth beneath.
Okay.
The heavens will vanish like smoke.
That's not good. That would be disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The earth will wear out like a garment.
Shit.
And its inhabitants die like flies.
Wait, weren't we just doing something good?
This just turned dark.
I thought he was doing something good, and all of a sudden we're all dying.
Death and dying. Dark.
I can't keep up with this guy. He's either killing us all or letting us all...
He's giving me whiplash.
Right?
But my salvation will last forever.
Oh, but... Okay.
He's saying, like, even though things die,
Is that what he's saying? Because it sounded like he was going to, make things bad.
They die, but my salvation is forever.
Unless he decides it's not.
Whatever I kill is dead.
Oh, but okay, okay.
My salvation
once
keeps
you
going.
Hit the 9-7 heavens, whatever the fuck it is.
9-7 heavens.
Well, there's cloud 9, there's 7 heavens, whatever the fuck it is, right?
Okay, whatever.
Or 7 layers of hell. I don't know what the fuck. There's all kinds of layers of hell, in heaven. But once you hit the heaven thing, the escalator, the escalator, the God house, then you're good forever, apparently.
But my salvation will last forever. My righteousness will never fail.
Okay.
Fail. Hear me, you who know what is right. You people who have taken my instruction to heart.
See, I feel like I know what's right. So I guess I could listen now.
Okay.
Okay.
Do not fear the reproach of mere mortals or be terrified by their insults. For the moth will eat them up like a garment. The worm will devour them like wool. He's saying, don't be scared to proclaim your love for me because
moths will eat them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he's saying,
I was just imagining that. That's got to be a horrible death to be eaten alive by a moth.
Yeah. Remember that one? Was it X-Files or Fringe where this guy had?
I feel like it was X-Files.
Yeah, where he had like moths get all over him.
No, that was creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
And then in The Magicians, in the first season, there's a guy whose face was all made out of moths. That was creepy.
Right, yeah.
That was super creepy when he came out of the mirror and
But really, when you like do a Google search on moths, they're fucking beautiful.
They are. They get a bad rap.
They really do. I think it's just because they're always flying around the lights where we want to be.
Yeah, and they eat clothes.
Well, sure.
For their nest.
That's what you use the mothballs for.
Right. The ones in your grandma's fucking cedar chest.
Right, yeah.
But my righteousness will last forever. My salvation through all generations. Except I also punish all generations.
Right,
so,
yeah.
He's so wishy-washy.
I can't keep up with this dude.
Awake, awake! Arm of the Lord, clothe yourself with strength.
Okay.
So when I was doing a little reading ahead on this.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who the fuck is talking and who the fuck they're talking to.
I gave up on that a while ago.
Because it's like, are you telling the Lord to wake up?
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
It really doesn't.
Yeah. So who's talking and to whom are they speaking?
I think we've talked about this before, but I think we just have a really bad writer that's doing this section.
A whole collection, a gaggle of bad writers. Yeah. Well, a murder of bad writers.
And if you think about it, though, too, I mean, and I don't know this to be true, but with regard to how informative is Isaiah is to the New Testament, it's quite possible that a lot of this is twisted to help. It's been edited.
Yeah.
To help create a better biblical story.
This is close enough to what we want. We just need to tweak it a bit, and then it totally is retrofitted to be Isaiah, but also be Jesus forward.
Right. And honestly, if you just make it a little bit muddled, then you have room to wiggle with your interpretation.
Exactly. Awake!
Oh, God.
As in days gone by, as in generations of old. Was it not you who cut Rahab to pieces, who pierced that monster through? So
wait, who was Rahab? I can't remember who Rahab was.
No, you're misunderstanding.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, I didn't have my notes open, and that's dumb. Well, I forgot that I needed them open for this one thing.
I got you.
So Rahab was a person, but it's not what we remember. Okay. The reference to Rahab is to Egypt, not to the Rahab associated with the Israelites' capture of Jericho in Joshua chapter 2.
Because that was the prostitute in that one?
I honestly do not remember, but that sounds right.
Okay.
That could be.
All right.
But it's not.
But it's not. It's Egypt.
It's Egypt.
Why? Why don't they just say Egypt?
Use of the name as a symbol for Egypt rests on the conception of a conflict in days long past between Jehovah and the monsters called Rahab and the dragon. Recall that in Psalm 89, the Lord rules the raging of the sea and breaks Rahab in pieces.
This sounds like a deep dive at some point.
Well, I just told you everything that you need to know, though.
Oh,
it was from Psalms.
Right. Okay, but it just seems
we talked about some of the monsters in Psalms.
Anytime you bring up a monster, I'm like, I want to learn all about that. I want to learn more about that.
Well, Rahab is Egypt.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can look up and see if there's more about, like, what the fuck is that about?
Sure.
But there's in Psalms it was saying that God broke Egypt.
Okay.
And so now he's referring to Egypt again, saying, was it not you who cut Egypt to pieces?
Got it. Okay.
Who pierced that monster through?
Got it. Okay.
Was it not you who... See, and like, obviously that's not God talking to himself saying, hey, you reflection in the mirror.
Right.
You are beautiful and you are worthy of love. Positive affirmations. You totally killed Rahab.
Right.
Like, that's not a thing that's happening.
Sure.
So again, who is talking to God saying, wake up?
Right.
Nobody knows. Let's see. Yeah, I was just checking my notes to see if I had written anything else that I wanted to share, but no, I just shared everything.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so you killed the monster and dried up the sea. Was it not you, the waters of the great deep, who made a road in the depths of the sea so that the redeemed might cross over? Right?
That's reference to Moses, right? Okay. All right.
Those the Lord has rescued will return. They will enter Zion with singing. Everlasting joy will crown their heads. Gladness and joy will overtake them, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. I, even I, am he who comforts you. Who are you? And see, it feels like we're going back to the Lord maybe, but I don't know.
Right.
Who are you that you fear mere mortals, human beings who are but grass, that you forget the Lord your maker, who stretches out the heavens and who lays the foundations of the earth, that you live in constant terror every day because of the wrath of the oppressor who is bent on destruction? This is another throwback to a few sentences ago when he was saying people shouldn't fear other people making fun of them. The only fear they should have is fear of the Lord.
Sure.
And if they're making
fun of you. And he said that before. You like, trust in me and I'll show the way. I'll make things better for you. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever.
So, why would you be scared of men? And I'm like, well, if I'm a woman, I could name several reasons. And if I'm a slave, I can name several reasons.
And I take a little bit of umbrage with this because, like, if you are a follower of God, if you already are walking upright and straight, right? Mm-hmm. Why should I have to wait? Why should I have to endure pain in order to receive better things? Like, you have the ability to make my life easier, yet you're making me struggle, even though I'm walking upright. And it doesn't make any sense why some people who are good and wonderful get all the wonderful things, like some of these kings that are great, right? They live the high life, right?
Yeah.
But you, as a normal person, if you're walking upright, you have to deal with suffering and bullshit because apparently that's just the way things are. And
because your king sucks.
You'll eventually get rewarded sometime. Maybe.
If I'm in the mood.
Right.
If one of your ancestors didn't do something that cursed you.
Yeah, and if you can manage to stay, upright and worship me the rest of your fucking life and fear me also. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, fuck off.
Yeah, basically. So. For where is the wrath of the oppressor? The cowering prisoners will soon be set free. They will not die in their dungeon, nor will they lack bread. Remember that time when the people in the desert were starving and he threw birds at them?
Yes. To be fair, they weren't starving. They did have manna to eat.
They did have manna, but they were
just wanted something else.
And apparently they were like so whiny that God was like, "Here's your fucking birds."
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's kind of funny.
He's so
petty, childish, so petty. Petulant.
Yes. All the above.
Yeah. For I am the Lord your God, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. The Lord Almighty is his name.
Wait, he just went from I am
to the sea and then is roaring. The Lord Almighty is his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what the sea does. It says, yo, that dude, he is God.
Yeah.
The waves crashing.
Yeah.
I have put my words in your mouth and covered you with the shadow of my hand. Ew, can you please keep your hands to yourself? Do not, I'm sorry, but COVID was real.
Right.
And I've had it more than once. And even before that, I get sick easily. Can we just not have anybody's hands be on other people's mouths?
Right.
And honestly, your own hand doesn't even need to be on your own mouth.
Right.
Right. I'm not saying, okay, we all got to wear masks, but I am saying, could you just not breathe on me and stay a little bit distant? Because I'm not trying to get sick.
Right.
Also, y'all need to wash your hands after you go pee. And also, y'all need to carry some hand sanitizer and fucking use it, you disgusting pigs. You worms. You mountains. Listen.
It's actually, in my opinion, it's better, well, from what I've read, it's better to wash your hands than it is to use hand sanitizer if you have the option.
If you have the option. And if you don't, please at least use the fucking hand sanitizer.
Right. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Obviously, one is better
for washing, before hand sanitizers. That's all.
Yeah, if you have the option, yes, obviously. But not everybody has a fucking sink in their back pocket.
Maybe we should find a way to do that.
Oh my God, you're an idiot. We're literally running out of water and you're like, let's carry sinks in our pocket.
Right.
Anyway, I who set the heavens in place, who laid the foundations of the earth, and who say to Zion, you're my people. Awake! Awake! Rise up, Jerusalem, you who have drunk from the hand of the Lord the cup of his wrath, you who have drained to its dregs the goblet that makes people stagger. Okay, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I really like the way that was phrased.
It was pretty good.
I'm going to read it again and just pretend it's not religious and just somebody, poetically wrote this, you know?
Sure.
Awake, awake, rise up, Jerusalem, you who have drunk from the hand of the Lord, the cup of his wrath, you who have drained to its dregs the goblet that makes people stagger. Mm-hmm. That is strong writing. I like that.
It was a little hard to separate it since it does say Lord in there.
I know. But somebody had a little spirit of poesy just then.
Yeah, I mean, everybody
has a good line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Among all the children she bore, there was none to guide her. Among all the children she reared, there was none to take her by the hand. These double calamities. I'm like, wait, what? This is an entirely different conversation.
Yeah, I feel like we've switched complete gears here.
Meanwhile, back at the farm, let's talk about cows for no reason. Yeah. What? Stop. These double calamities have come upon you. Who can comfort you? Ruin and destruction, famine and sword. Who can console you? Your children have fainted.
They fainted, huh?
I guess.
Okay.
They lie at every street corner like antelope caught in a net. What is happening?
Okay.
They are filled with the wrath of the Lord, with the rebuke of your God. Therefore, hear this, you afflicted one, made drunk, but not with wine. This is what your sovereign Lord God says, your God who defends his people. See, I have taken out of your hand the cup that made you stagger. From that cup, the goblet of my wrath, you will never drink again. Boom. I will put it into the hands of your motherfucking tormentors, who said to you, fall prostrate that we may walk on you. And you made your back like the ground, like a street to be walked on. The end.
Why did he give that tormented... It was his hand. It literally said it was his hand.
Right.
They were drinking out of.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he put his hand down for his own people that he cares about, apparently, sort of, in a weird way? Why would he have them drink from that at all? Why would you want to torment the people that you care about and claim to want to protect? It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Like, none of this makes any goddamn sense.
But he is now going to give that cup of torture to the tormentors.
Yeah, and he says forever, because we like to talk in, definitives and very, grandiose ideas that don't actually apply or happen.
Right.
Like, that's not something that's true.
Forever.
We just, Israelis, Jewish people have just recently in history re-inhabited Israel. So obviously none of this stuck, right? Like throughout history, it didn't stick.
Right.
They weren't in their land.
Right.
At some point, something else happened. That's not what this podcast is about. We're not going over that. But something else happened to where they lost their land again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they've got it back again. It's a very contentious area in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that we're saying in this book are not true. Like, just by knowing recent-ish history, you can say that is not true.
In our lifetimes.
You, God, are fucking lying.
Or, non-existent and got it wrong.
Right. But even if you do believe in God, you have to admit that that is not true.
Right.
It's not true.
Right.
And that it bothers me because they speak in such...
absolutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not correct.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I went off a little bit there.
You did. You got upset.
I did, because we're supposed to trust that the Word of God is the infallible Word of God that can't be questioned, that is always correct, that is never wrong. And here we are reading through this, and I find it so often that something is not correct and is not right and is absolutely fucking wrong.
And there's always pretzel mind bending in order to apologize for it, to try and make it work.
Yeah. So it fucking annoys me.
Yeah. I don't blame you a bit.
And I question how people can read these chapters, these words, and not say, well, God's not quite correct there. Should I need to ask questions about this.
Right. No, I totally agree with you.
Right. So anyway, that was Isaiah chapter 51.
Indeed it was.
Which means that tomorrow we will be back with...
Isaiah chapter 52.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
Well, I think God threatened his Israelites with being eaten by moths and worms.
Yes.
And
listen, you worms.
And there was some back and forth whether he liked us or not or whatever.
And a servant suffered.
Yeah.
And we have no idea who the hell he is.
I mean, there's hypotheses. But I mean, I'm not convinced of anything.
Other
than possibly shitty writing.
Yeah.
So that's about the best I've got.
I'm for it.
So that was Isaiah chapter 51?
Correct.
And that means that today we're getting into
Isaiah chapter 52.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, we are hopping into Isaiah chapter 52.
Okay.
Awake, awake, Zion!
Ah, Jesus.
That's what, on the mornings that I don't say, listen, you mountain, I'm
Right.
going to say, awake, awake, Zion! Good morning, Baltimore.
Oh, my gosh.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay, awake, awake, Zion. Clothe yourself with strength.
Okay.
Put on your garments of splendor, Jerusalem, the holy city. The uncircumcised and defiled will not enter you again. I hate
that has a
guys.
sexual intonation to it almost.
It really does.
I'm just saying, will not enter you. And we're talking about penises in the same sentence.
Right.
I mean, it's just
fail.
Right? Yeah.
Were you trying to sound?
Right. It's just weird.
Yeah. I really find it weird that we are so interested in men's penises.
Right.
Yeah. Like this
well, the book in general, like,
that's what I'm saying.
When they do the covenants or whatever, they grab their fucking penises and shit. And,
yeah.
Like
cup their balls.
Yeah.
To make a covenant.
And then I've heard this multiple times, and I know we've researched it too, but like when they mention feet, they're actually talking about your balls.
Yeah.
So like there's quite an obsession with genitalia in the Bible.
It's a little just disturbing.
It really is.
And to have a religion still around today that's the main big nasty religion.
Right.
And they're making laws and they're still just as interested in genitalia today as they were back then.
Right, right.
Like, wow, grow much? No, you don't.
Yeah, I just don't feel like it's I feel
like it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy at all.
Especially when you're talking about it the way it's being talked about.
Right.
So
right.
It bothers me every single time. Yeah. I'm like, this is weird.
Let's talk about your penis and if you're circumcised or not.
Right?
Ugh, weird. Shake off your dust. Rise up. Sit enthroned, Jerusalem. Free yourself. Free yourself. Don't be so shallow. Be colorblind.
I don't think that's how it goes.
It doesn't. No, okay. I always mess it up.
Yeah. See, like when you do that, you really confuse me because I'm like, that is not how that thing goes.
I sing it wrong every time, but I have a good heart. Free yourself from the chains on your neck, daughter Zion, now a captive. For this is what the Lord says. You ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
You were sold for nothing, and without money you will be redeemed.
Okay. They were sold for nothing because they were taken captive.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't, that doesn't, sure. And I guess, when you were freeing you by force, sure. Okay. But the thing is, though, that Cyrus is freeing them, right? So Cyrus is a king in another land who's going to give them freedom. Right. But that means that they got to pay tribute. So technically they are paying for their freedom, if you ask me.
Yeah, actually.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's not exactly correct.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair way to look at it.
Right?
For this is what the sovereign Lord says. At first, my people went down to Egypt to live. Lately, Assyria has oppressed them. And now what do I have here, declares the Lord.
I don't know. What do we have?
For my people have been taken away for nothing. And those who rule them mock, declares the Lord.
But you let that happen, dude.
Oh, those mocking mockers.
But he let it happen.
You mocker.
I don't.
You are such a mocker.
He has stated that this is his plan. Like, this is supposed to be his plan.
Yeah.
And yet he's offended by these things that are happening also.
Yeah.
And that I don't like that. That's like, what are you can't have it both ways.
He can.
This is why I think he sounds like Trump, because he's like, I want to do the thing, but then I also want to get empathy for having done the thing.
And I want to be praised for doing the thing, but I also want to talk about how much work the thing was and have you feel sorry for me for doing the thing. But I also deny that I ever did the thing.
Yeah. Depending on what we're talking about in any instance at any given time.
And sometimes in the same sentence.
Right.
Right. And all day long, my name is constantly blasphemed because you're a dick.
Yeah.
Therefore, my people will know my name.
I mean,
Yahweh,
we do know
Lord.
his name, I guess.
Only because he says it like 1,000 times. Self-indulgent prick.
Right.
Therefore, in that day, they will know that it is I who foretold it. Yes, it is I.
Okay. Which bit are we foretelling? Foretelling.
I foretelled it.
The freeing of them, the capturing of them.
Any prophecy in any given moment.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation.
I mean, I like those people.
Who say to Zion, your God reigns! Listen.
Wait, who outside of people that, like, I'm trying to imagine the person that's sitting there that's not a believer in Yahweh, that's not a Israelite, saying, your God reigns!
Wow, nice one! Whoa, that's so cool. Your God, wow.
Especially when you were just held captive by a civilization and got freed by some other civilizations. No one's going, you're awesome. Right? No, they're going, man, you guys lucked out. That was really, that was a good deal you guys got there.
They're not going, man, your God is so cool, deuces.
Right? They're going, that Cyrus guy, man, he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Cyrus rules. Right? Cyrus reigns.
Yeah.
Listen, your watchmen lift up their voices. Together they shout for joy.
Okay.
When the Lord returns to Zion, they will see it with their own eyes. Burst into songs of joy together, ye ruins of Jerusalem. For the Lord has comforted his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem.
That's great, I guess.
Sure. The Lord will lay bare his holy arm in the sight of all the nations. Oh, there's his arm again.
Yeah.
Always sticking his arm out the window.
Right.
And all the ends of the earth. In that little
islands
corner.
and that other place down the road.
Yeah. We'll see the salvation of our God. Except that, did they though?
No.
Depart! Go out from there! Touch no unclean thing.
See, this is interesting because we've been mentioning a few things like just very hit or miss from older books in the Bible that haven't been mentioned in quite a while.
Right.
Like unclean was big in Leviticus.
That was huge, and so was the circumcision stuff.
Right, and I haven't heard that word in a while, but it was like used every other sentence, and for a while there. So I mean, but they're bringing it back.
They're bringing it back.
This is like the greatest hits.
Yeah, because they're trying to be like, remember.
Right? Yeah, we know what we're talking about. We're remembering. We're bringing in all the hits.
Yeah,
this is all good stuff.
Yeah, come out from it and be pure. You who carry the articles of the Lord's house, but you will not leave in haste or go in flight, for the Lord will go before you. The God of Israel will be your rear guard. He's in front and in back because he's the Alpha and the Omega.
Right.
See, my servant will act wisely.
Okay. Guy that we don't know who it is.
Whoever his servant is.
Okay.
He will be raised and lifted up and highly exalted. Just as there were many who were appalled at him, his appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being.
Wait. Say that again?
His appearance... Okay, just as there were many who were appalled at him.
Yeah.
His appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being, and his form marred beyond human likeness.
This is the Savior. This is the Redeemer. This is the person that is... I'm clarifying here.
This is who Christians would say is the Jesus. Yeah.
He's an ugly motherfucker.
Apparently.
Okay.
His appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being, and his form marred beyond human likeness.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The images that I've seen of Jesus, dude looks fucking beautiful.
He does.
I'm just saying, like he's a gorgeous human being.
This description sounds like a brown leper. It does not sound like a white, beautiful man. And all the pictures of Jesus are white, beautiful mans.
Right.
And this guy was not white. He was brown.
Yeah.
And this is describing him as a leper.
Right.
So.
It's very interesting.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that this gets skipped over a lot because they're literally describing this person's appearance.
Right.
And
either that or, and hear me out.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe if this is to be believed to be Jesus or whatever,
sure.
Maybe he's referring to his appearance on the cross with all the blood and, tore up and people threw rocks and stuff at him. His appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being, after the torture and abuse, and his form marred beyond human likeness.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
I'm not saying that's what I think it is. I'm saying
that's definitely not how it read.
No, but I bet you that's what a Christian would say.
Okay.
All
right.
I don't know. We'll have to look into this some more and be like, wait, what?
But it's very I'm happy that that's in there.
Me too.
Because just because of the image of Jesus that's out there. There's this perfect glowy image of Jesus that we all have.
Yeah.
And right here in the Bible, one that Christians claim is part of describing what Jesus is going to be. They're describing an ugly person.
Yeah.
A very ugly person.
A diseased and messed up person.
So it's kind of funny to me.
Seems like his nose might have fallen off. So he will sprinkle this ugly guy.
Yeah.
So he will sprinkle many nations, and kings will shut their mouths because of him. For what they were not told, they will see, and what they have not heard, they will understand.
I see.
Yeah, that's where Christians get real big in their Jesus.
Well, yeah, but it also, it depends on how you interpret this too, because really Jesus didn't do a lot of the things that they're saying. I think they're claiming that these things that are prophesied are things that happened as Christianity grew. Like, they're referring to these prophecies as basically Christianity as a whole.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Christianity is still involving itself in leaders and different things like that and causing people to do things, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they see it, as this overarching entity that has taken hold of the world.
Right.
Right? And even that's a little bit questionable because I think even I think Islam is even more popular people-wise than Christianity is. So
yeah.
But whatever. So
who cares?
Yeah, right.
Honestly.
It's interesting, that's all.
Yeah. So we don't know who that guy is. The end.
The end. Got it. All right. Well, that was a short chapter today.
Yep.
And I do want to say real quick, because we didn't get to it this week, we still have some patrons to call out.
We do.
I think we're going to start off next week doing that.
Yeah, we had said we might not get to them this week because we are still catching up.
We're playing catch up, yeah.
Yeah. And we're caught up now, which means that next week is when we can actually plan and be on track and be good to go.
Yeah. So we'll be doing that beginning of next week. And that was Isaiah chapter 52.
Sure as fuck was.
And then tomorrow is Saturday, which means we'll be back with
Q&A Saturday.
And then on Sunday, we'll be back with
Sacrilegious Book Club.
And then I'll be getting the weekly wrap up together. And then we'll be back on Monday with
Isaiah chapter 53.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, it is Saturday, so that means that we're doing
Q&A Saturday.
That's right. So what are we Q&Aing today?
We are supposed to be covering chapters 48 through 52.
Wait, you said supposed to?
Correct.
Oh.
What I didn't tell you is that I'm doing it over the suffering servant, and that gets into chapter 53 a little bit, which we haven't read, but that's okay.
Okay. All right. Okay? So we're covered. It's mostly about the suffering servant.
Yes.
Awesome. Which is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
For lots of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You ready to do this?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. Okay. So before I talk about the suffering servant.
Okay.
I need to mention a thing about the servant songs.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. The ones that we didn't know were in the wrong order, but now we know they're in the whatever. We didn't know where they were, but now we know where they are. Right. Yeah. They're not consecutive.
Okay. So I had been referring to them. Once again, I was wrong. Okay. Just put that out there. I had been referring to them merely by the chapter that they appeared in. So 42, suffering servant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it turns out that there are actually only particular verses within those chapters. And that might not seem important until we get to the last one.
Okay.
So the first suffering servant song, or song of the suffering servant, is, yes, Isaiah 42, but it's only verses 1 through 4.
Okay.
The second one, yes, is chapter 49, but it's only verses 1 through 6.
Got it.
Okay. The third suffering servant song is Isaiah chapter 50, yes, but it's only verses 4 through 11.
Okay.
Now, here we're hitting the fourth one, and this is where it's problematic.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
If it hadn't been like this, I could have just left it alone, because honestly, who really cares, right?
Okay, sure.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
Right,
We're not trying to get all picky and whatnot on this.
Yeah.
We're just trying to read it through.
Sure.
So, the fourth suffering servant song is, yes, it starts in Isaiah 52 at verse 13.
Okay.
And then it continues through chapter 53, verse 12. So really, we actually stopped in the middle of a song.
Oh.
So, technically speaking, I should have saved this Q&A that I'm doing today for next week.
But we've already covered the majority of it, so...
And the more that I started reading, the more... Well, I was already in it before I knew that I should wait.
Got it.
I'm like, nope, this is what we're doing.
Right.
So here we are. So you can see why I needed to do a little preface before I hop in.
Yeah.
Okay. So the suffering servant. These are entries from the Dead Sea Scrolls that assert a messianic human who has been exalted into heaven with a status above the angels.
Okay. All right.
And I have said that before. When we first discussed the suffering songs,
yeah.
I mentioned that back then, and we were like, whoa.
Right.
What's that about?
Yeah.
So this figure rhetorically asks, who bears all griefs as I do, and who suffers evil like me? Who has been despised on my account? To imply that he has been despised unlike anyone before, modeling himself on the suffering servant from Isaiah's servant songs.
Okay.
So that's from the Dead Sea Scrolls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rabbinic Judaism sees this passage, especially God's suffering servant, as a reference to the Jewish nation.
Right.
Which Christians do not.
Right.
They see it as
Jesus.
Yeah. Jewish teaching also takes note of the historical context in which God's suffering servant appears, particularly because it speaks in the past tense. So they are talking about somebody having suffered.
Got it.
Not somebody who will suffer.
Okay. All right. I like that. I hadn't figured that out on my own, so that's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It's like, okay, yeah, I hear you. That makes sense.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So the Jewish nation, of course, has borne unspeakable injustices under Assyria, Babylonia, ancient Greece, ancient Rome. Those are all gone, and yet they still bear persecution to this day. So
sure.
And I don't want to get into the current situation that's happening.
Where they're doling out persecution?
Yes.
Right.
Because that is not the scope of this, and we've already done a separate episode on that, which did not necessarily paint the Jewish situation in this particular situation with in the prettiest light. Right. Because we're like, okay, but you can't be both the victim and then also, be the murdery persecuting.
Right.
Yeah. You got to pick a lane.
Sure.
So anyway, the modern Jewish interpretation of Isaiah describes the servant of the Lord as the nation of Israel itself, which we've already said that.
Okay.
The speakers in Isaiah 53, which we haven't got to yet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you ahead of time a little bit what we're going to be reading in these opening verses on Monday. The speakers are the stunned kings of nations who will bear witness to the Messianic age in the future.
Okay.
And the final vindication of the Jewish people following their long and bitter exile.
Got it.
Who would have believed our report, they'll say. The astonished and contrite world leaders will wonder aloud in dazed bewilderment.
I see.
Like, who could possibly... We couldn't have foreseen this and known that it would be like this, and who would believe us if we said it?
So I hear that, but like, and if you're a Christian, I suppose this stuff could still be coming, but I don't really. There's nothing that I can point my finger at and say, that's what that is, that
Right.
like that. But I mean, I'm sure people do try to attribute it to things,
Mm-hmm.
but in my mind, there's nothing I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that's what that means.
Right.
Like I can't think of anything that would astonish and stun people for what happened.
Right.
Like that. It's just a story. It's just a story that is not really that great, in my opinion. So
it's kind of like going to get your palm read, and instead of just thinking, well, that was fun, and yeah, they did mention that I drive a car, but that's not like a hard guess.
Right.
And instead being like, oh my God, they said I drive a car. What the actual fuck? Right. How could they possibly know? Like, okay, there's a happy medium too.
Yeah.
Where, like,
I mean, definitely.
So anyway, the stimulus for the world's baffled response is the unexpected salvation of Israel rather than of Christ.
Got it. Okay.
In the Jewish tradition.
Right.
Yes.
I got you.
The redemption of God's people is the central theme, where the quote, "you" signifies the Jewish people who are sheltered and delivered by God.
Okay.
And the afflicted barren woman is protected and saved by God, and is also universally recognized as the nation of Israel.
I see.
So.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that equate this to how Israel has regained power in Israel since World War II.
Yeah.
Like that, that has to equate into a lot of people's thinking with regard to how this all plays out.
Yes.
So.
It definitely is playing a good problem with people's worldview.
Yeah.
Both ways, whether you're Jewish or Christian.
Yeah, because honestly, if you're Christian, it's kind of problematic, because this bit that is hypothetically about Israel and Judaism was supposed to be about Jesus. So if you are saying that the Jewish people, their claim to Israel and this thing that's happening is God redeeming them, then you're allowing for these prophecies to relate to Israel and not to Jesus.
Not necessarily, because then they could also though say that the prophecy speaks of, after this happens, then
sure,
the world goes to shit, and the apocalypse is on us, and the rapture and stuff.
And look, I'm not a scholar on this stuff, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but I feel like there is something here that could be problematic with regard to viewpoints and how it all plays out.
Sure.
So that's all.
Yeah, I kind of just wish, like, can the world just fucking settle down? Can everybody just stop? Because every time y'all move, you do something stupid, and you make the situation worse. Right. And then the Christians and the Jewish people, and like the whole thing is just like, just stop. Everybody just stop moving.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there's this guy named, okay, wait, let me back up. Okay, so Christians are like, well, I mean, it was a Jewish person who originally pointed out that these particular verses are relating to the suffering servant.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're like, so I mean, even early on, they knew it was Jesus-y, not
but they related it differently. They related it to Israel.
Well, yes and no. He wrote, the guy that put all this together, he wrote about it as a Messiah. And so the Christians point to that and say, see, he knew. But he wasn't actually the first to assert that there was this thing about the suffering servant.
Okay.
And, put these verses together.
Got it.
There actually was a guy named Origen, who was a prominent and influential church father, Christian church father.
Okay.
He conceded in the year 248 So
soon
modern
after,
era. That the consensus among the Jews in his time was that Isaiah, particularly Isaiah 53, or reference to the whole Jewish people regarded as one individual and as being in a state of dispersion and suffering.
Okay.
So it was the Christians themselves at that time who specifically said, obviously this refers to the Jewish nation.
And that's how it was understood at that time. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which matters.
Sure.
But
at least by some people,
it matters in interpreting it,
right?
You know,
but there might have been competing views too. We don't know that for sure either.
Sure, but it would have been recorded as such too, though.
Maybe.
Yeah,
there was a lot of just handing down stories by telling them.
Sure.
Back in these days.
I'll give you that. I do find it interesting that it was a Christian church leader who put forth,
regardless, somebody influential in the early Christian church.
Yes. Recognized this is how the Jewish believe this.
Yes.
And it's their fucking book.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Right. That matters too.
Sure.
So according to Isaiah's prophecy, the humbled kings of nation will confess that Jewish suffering occurred as a direct result of, quote, our own iniquity, or phrased more clearly, that this happened because of our depraved Jew hatred rather than, as they previously thought, the stubborn blindness of the Jews.
Wow. Talk about very hitting home with modern history.
Yes.
That is.
And that's another reason I was like, I have to fucking read this today.
Right? No,
I cannot wait.
That's kind of, I get, if you believe real hard, right? If you are a big time believer in Judaism or even Christianity, depending on how you want to interpret all this and how you want to believe in your God or whatever.
And we'll get into Christianity a little bit too.
Sure. But that if you are a believer, that comparison right there is so strong.
Yeah.
It's just that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now it means nothing to me other than a coincidence that happened 2,000 years after the fact, 3,000 years after the fact, whatever.
Right.
But the fact that it happened and these religions are still prominent, it makes for an interesting world. It makes for an interesting thing that happens.
It just makes you go,
It's the things that make you go,
Right.
Yeah.
The stunned reaction of the world's nations to the unexpected vindication and redemption of the Jewish nation in the Messianic age, which some might contend is now, is a recurring theme throughout the Hebrew scriptures. Israel's neighbors will be amazed when their age-old assessment of the Jew is finally proven wrong. Throughout Israel's long and bitter exile, the nations mistakenly attributed the miserable predicament of the Jew to his stubborn rejection of the world's religions.
Let me
finish this sentence.
All right.
In the end of days, however, which again some might contend is now or whatever, according to prophecy, the Gentiles will discover what was until then unimaginable. The unwavering Jew was, in fact, all this time faithful to the one true God. Okay, one more thing, and then I'll let you speak. Okay?
It's already passed, so don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just, you're going to want to hear this, back to back. Okay,
yep.
It is worth noting that the traditional church did not completely satisfy the Christian mind with their stock interpretation of Isaiah 53. Well, Isaiah as a whole and then 53 in particular.
Right.
There is, therefore, a consensus among many modern liberal Christian commentators, which is in accord with the prevailing rabbinic interpretation.
Nice.
So your more liberal Christians who are more educated and actually study the background and hermeneutics and history and context and all that good stuff.
Right.
They would actually agree, oh, yeah, obviously this is about Israel.
Right.
Yeah. Conservative Christians, on the other hand, strongly argue against the Jewish interpretation of Isaiah for a number of expected reasons.
Right. Yeah. they want their Jesus to be as perfect as possible real bad.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And they need it to be.
Right.
They need it to be is the problem.
Right.
It's not just that they want it.
Almost to the point of the harm of their own religion.
Yes.
Like they can't see any further than right in front of their face because they need it to be that way so bad they can't see straight.
Yeah. Yeah. Now historically the church has relentlessly relentlessly used Isaiah as its most important proof text in order to demonstrate the veracity of the Gospels.
Okay.
Which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Sure.
The first 4 books of the New Testament, which obviously we haven't got to yet.
Right.
But I have told you multiple times that this one is considered the 5th Gospel, and this is why.
New Testament light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got it.
They argue that this chapter proves that Jesus' death was explicitly prophesied in the Hebrew scriptures. Consequently, missionaries have fervently used Isaiah to proclaim that the Hebrew prophet Isaiah predicted the advent of Christianity centuries before the birth of Jesus. Accordingly, the traditional church recoils at the rabbinic interpretation of the servant songs. How dare! Clutch my pearls, gasp!
Right.
Such a monumental concession would require Christendom to abandon one of its most cherished polemic chapters used to defend its own teachings.
Right.
And a vital part of its textual arsenal used against its elder rival, Judaism.
Right. Yeah.
The systemic suffering of the Jews plays no essential role in Christian theology. The suffering of Jesus, on the other hand, is the cornerstone of church doctrine.
Indeed it is. Yes.
In fact, widespread Christian teachings throughout history concluded that the suffering of the Jews illustrates the wrongness of their beliefs, while the suffering of Jesus and his followers illustrates the truth and veracity of the cross. Interesting, yeah?
Yeah.
It's almost like Christians like to have their cake and eat it too. And, if 2 people do the same thing, it's okay if it's a Republican, but not a Democrat.
Right.
Yes. It's almost like that, isn't it?
It is almost like that, yeah.
As a result, conservative Christians are unyielding in their rejection of the Jewish interpretation of Isaiah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is as far as I got because I didn't want to go too far into the weeds and completely get into Isaiah chapter 53.
Right.
So
or too much into Jesus and stuff like that.
Right. Too. That is true.
Because we could have gone at this a whole other route and covered the Christian side of this too.
Yes. And I am going to assume that we will be hitting some of this again. And
once we get the New Testament?
Yeah.
I think we definitely should. I think that when Isaiah comes up in the New Testament, we should go back and do a bigger dive as far as the Christian point of view into these things. Sure. But
also the same thing is going to happen when we hit Jeremiah because he's quoted a lot, I guess.
Got it.
And there's going to be some stuff that we'll want to, not double cross. What am I trying to say?
Double check, double whatever.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Go back and sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Research.
Yes,
do research on.
That's fun. Yeah.
So that was very interesting.
Right? Yeah. I thought.
No, I didn't have a lot to say because most of it I was just curious about. And it's good to know this gives me a lot of context and then honestly, I feel like this is good context for the current world to understand some things. Like if you don't know a lot about history, this gives you some idea as to motivations and ideas that are out there and things that are being said. Like these all kind of go back to
they're echoes of
Judaism
yesteryear.
And Christianity and different things like that. They are definitely the things that are going on in the world now. These are still echoes of those.
Yes.
So it's I think it's important that we know these things.
Right, and that was another reason I wanted to go ahead and do the. I wouldn't call that a deep dive. I would call that a tiptoe. Sure. Into the waters.
Right. And by important, I think it's always good to have more context, that's all.
Yep.
So that was our Q&A for this Saturday.
Yes, it was.
Which means that we'll be back tomorrow with
I I forgot which one.
I think we're doing...
Sacrilegious Book Club.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
That one.
And then I'll get our weekly wrap-up together, and then we'll be back on Monday with...
Isaiah chapter 53.
And you know this because you already did the research for it.
Yes, and also because it is reflected in part of today's research.
Correct.
Yes.
All right. We will see you guys then, and yeah, we'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.